In my past life, I got both my legs crushed by a car trying to save Guo Ting. She only visited my hospital room 3 times. The first time, she told me I had it coming. The second time, she flaunted her new boyfriend in my face. And the third time, she leaned in close to my ear and whispered in the sweetest voice, living with a crippled body. It's absolutely disgusting to look at. I suffered in that wheelchair for 8 years, until I literally died in agony from infected bed sores. When I opened my eyes again, I was back on the day of the crash. The piercing screech of the brakes almost tore my eardrums apart. I stood on the edge of the sidewalk, completely frozen in place, right in my line of sight. That out-of-control black sedan was barreling straight toward us. The agonizing squeal of tires scraping against the asphalt. It made my scalp tingle with dread. Less than 5 meters away stood Guo Ting, the childhood friend I had protected my whole life. She wore a white dress specifically for today, her hair clearly styled with care, draped smoothly over her shoulders. She was even holding a bottle of water she just bought from the school store. And right beside her stood the most popular guy in school, Zhang Zicheng, the golden boy she had been secretly crushing on for 2 whole years. I saw it, crystal clear. The moment the car rushed at them, Guo Ting grabbed Zhang Zicheng's arm in a death grip. Her nails were practically digging into his flesh. She was shaking, her lips as white as paper, her eyes filled with absolute terror. The scene was exactly the same as in my past life. But this time, I didn't instinctively lunge forward like I did before. Memories came flooding back like a tidal wave, bringing the stench of blood and the freezing, metallic touch of that wheelchair. In my last life, at this exact moment, I threw myself at Guo Ting like a madman, using every ounce of my strength to push her out of the way. But her, at the very split second I pushed her to save Zhang Zicheng, she shoved me forward instead. I still remember the look in her eyes back then. It wasn't panic, it was calculated. It was the cold, ruthless look of someone using you as a convenient meat shield. And then, I collapsed right in front of the tires. When the car crushed both my legs, that agonizing pain, I'll never forget it for as long as I live. The sickening crunch of my bones snapping, the sensation of my blood spraying out, and the terrified screams of the crowd around me. It all blended together into a nightmare I could never wake up from. The doctors told me I'd never stand again for the rest of my life. During my time in the hospital, Guo Ting only came to see me 3 times. The first time was 1 week after the crash. She stood at my door holding a sad, wilted bunch of carnations, frowning at me in my wheelchair, and said, "Shu Chen, how could you be so careless?" Her tone was so dismissive, as if I had merely tripped and fallen. The second time was the day she and Zhang Zicheng made it official. She walked in clinging to his arm, with this smug look on her face that she couldn't even hide. "Zicheng said he wanted to see you, since you got hurt trying to save me, after all." Zhang Zicheng stood right behind her, and the way he looked at me, how should I put it? Like he was looking at a dying stray dog on the street. Full of pity, yet completely detached. He didn't say a single word. He just nodded at me. The third and final time was the day I got discharged. She came alone. My mom was struggling to lift me out of the car and put me into the wheelchair. It took her nearly 20 exhausting minutes. She just stood right there watching me, didn't even lift a finger to help. After it was all over, she walked right up to me, bent down, and leaned real close to my ear. Her voice was so quiet, but so sharp. "Why didn't you just get killed on the spot? Leaving you with this crippled body, it's disgusting just looking at you. Don't ever contact me again. Zicheng said he doesn't want me having anything to do with you." After she said that, she stood back up and brushed off her hands, like she was wiping away dirt that wasn't even there. Then she just turned and walked away. Her high heels clicked against the pavement. Click, clack. Every single step felt like she was stomping right on my heart. Later, I heard she and Zhang Zicheng moved out to Beijing together, living happily ever after. And me? I was stuck sitting in that damn wheelchair for 8 long years. 8 years, from a 19-year-old college kid, all the way to 27. The youngest, the absolute best 8 years of my life, just completely wasted like that. Until one late night, when those infected bed sores gave me severe blood poisoning. I closed my eyes in agonizing pain, and when I opened them again, I was right back here. Back at the exact moment my whole life was ruined. "Shu Chen, save me." Guo Ting's screaming snapped me right back to reality. She turned her head and looked at me. Her eyes were brimming with tears. That sweet, innocent face of hers was totally twisted in panic. She reached out to me, her fingers shaking like crazy. Shu Chen, grab my hand, hurry. The car's gonna hit us. If this was my past life, I would have thrown myself in front of it without a second thought. But right now, I just stood there watching her. Watching this girl I've known since I was 6 years old. We grew up together, went to school together, we got chewed out by teachers together, even shared the exact same popsicle. When we were kids, she told me she was gonna marry me when we grew up. And I said, sure, as soon as I make some money, I'll marry you. But, as we got older, she stopped bringing it up, and I was too embarrassed to ask. I just brushed it off as silly childhood talk, and shoved all those feelings deep down inside. But to be completely honest with you, during those restless teenage nights, I definitely fantasized about us being together. But now, all those sweet memories have just become a massive joke. The absolute biggest joke of my life. I looked right past her, staring straight at Zhang Zicheng standing right behind her. Our school's charming little golden boy. Well, his cool and calm act was completely gone now. He was desperately trying to shake off Guo Ting's hand, but she was gripping onto him way too tight. He just couldn't shake her loose. And I saw it. That quick flash of absolute disgust in his eyes. Disgust for Guo Ting, and disgust for this sudden danger they were in. Shu Chen, Guo Ting screamed my name again. She was practically sobbing at this point. That black car was getting closer, and closer. The driver looked like he'd completely given up. He took both his hands off the steering wheel. And just covered his face. 3 meters left, 2 meters. Zhang Zicheng finally yanked his arm back as hard as he could. Using every ounce of his strength, he broke free from Guo Ting's grip, practically jumping backward out of pure instinct. He backed into the safe zone, dragging Guo Ting along so she stumbled forward a bit. She looked back at Zhang Zicheng in pure disbelief, her eyes full of shock and hurt. She probably never imagined in a million years that the guy she risked her life to protect would abandon her without a second thought in a life or death moment. But just that 1 second of spacing out changed absolutely everything. The car wheels grazed her legs and completely crushed them. The sound of bones shattering was crisp and absolutely terrifying. A sound I know way too well. And then came Guo Ting's agonizing, ear-piercing scream. She collapsed on the ground, her white dress quickly soaking in blood. A glaring red, blooming like some twisted, bizarre flower. The crowd around us started screaming. Some people pulled out their phones to call 911. Others were so freaked out they just turned and ran. But I stood right there, completely motionless. Just staring at her, watching her writhe around on the ground in total agony. Staring at her legs bent at a sickening angle. Definitely broken. Exactly like mine in my past life. She lifted her head and looked right at me. Her eyes were full of confusion and deep resentment. Shu Chen, why didn't you save me? Her voice was completely broken, trembling so hard from the pain. I slowly walked over to her, crouching down to look her dead in the eye. Guo Ting, do you even remember? My voice was incredibly soft, so quiet that only the two of us could hear it. Back in 3rd grade, when I got cornered in the bathroom by the older kids. You were the one who ran to get the teacher. And in middle school, when my parents got divorced, I hid in the corner of the track field, crying. You found me, and sat with me the entire night. Freshman year of high school, when my classmates framed me for stealing. You stood up and vouched for me. I remember every single bit of it. A flash of total confusion crossed Guo Ting's eyes, like she had no clue why I was bringing this up out of nowhere. And then I smiled, a smile that even I felt chilling me right down to the bone. And that's exactly why, in my past life, I rushed in to save you without a single second thought. But what about you? How the hell did you treat me? Guo Ting's pupils instantly shrank in sheer terror. She opened her mouth to say something, but all that came out was a painful, broken groan. What are you talking about? What past life? I stood up, completely done looking at her. The wailing of an ambulance drifted closer and closer. The police cars finally showed up, too. The crowd started closing in around us, pointing their fingers, gossiping and whispering. I saw Zhang Zicheng standing just a little bit away. His face was terrifyingly pale, frantically explaining something to a cop. His eyes would occasionally dart over to our side, but then quickly dart away. Acting like the girl rolling on the ground in agony had absolutely nothing to do with him. I turned around to leave. Shu Chen, Guo Ting suddenly screamed out with every last ounce of her strength. I stopped dead in my tracks. I didn't look back. You. Her voice was incredibly weak, but dripping with pure venom. I'm going to make you pay for this. I didn't even give her the time of day. I just walked straight through the crowd and left. The sunlight was absolutely gorgeous, spilling over my body in a comforting, warm glow. I took a deep breath, finally feeling the solid, living strength in both of my own legs. These legs were completely crushed in my past life. I suffered in a wheelchair for 8 agonizing years. But now, they're perfectly fine. I can walk, I can run. It feels so unbelievably good, it makes me want to cry. But I know this is far from over. Guo Ting isn't the type to just roll over and give up. She'll definitely find a way to get back at me. And I'm not done with what I set out to do either. Every single debt from my past life, I'm going to settle them all, one by one. And it's not just Guo Ting. It's also those so-called friends who kicked me when I was down after I got paralyzed. Those classmates who stomped on me at my absolute lowest. Those relatives who avoided me like the plague just because I became a cripple. None of them are getting away. Suddenly, my phone buzzed. I pulled it out. It was a group message from our class rep, Lee Jingin. Urgent notice. This afternoon's class meeting will proceed as scheduled. The counselor has an important announcement. Attendance is mandatory for everyone. A massive wall of received flooded the chat right after. I stared at the screen for a few seconds. Then, I slowly typed. Received. What's meant to happen will happen. My college life has only just begun. And my revenge has only just begun too. Guo Ting, enjoy the rest of your days. This was just the appetizer. The ambulance took Guo Ting away, and the crowd of onlookers slowly scattered. All that was left was that puddle of blood on the ground, turning a sickening, dark red under the sun. I didn't go back to campus. I just wandered aimlessly down the street. The solid, grounding feeling of my own 2 legs walking on the earth. It made my eyes well up. 8 years, 8 whole years. For the first time, I could finally feel the ground beneath my feet again. With every single step, I was making sure this wasn't just a dream. Passing by a boba shop, I caught my reflection in the glass window. 19-year-old Xu Chen, 1.82 m, not super muscular, but with all 4 limbs perfectly intact. Handsome and full of life. This was me in the prime of my youth. In my past life, at this very age, I should have been out there breaking a sweat in college. Running across the basketball court, pulling all-nighters in the library. Shining bright in student clubs. But all of that was completely destroyed by that one push. And now, I've been given a second chance. I pulled out my phone. I scrolled down my contacts to my dad's number. My finger hovered over the call button. I hesitated for a long time, but eventually, I pressed it. It rang 5 times before he picked up. Hello? My dad's raspy voice came through the line, mixed with the loud clattering of mahjong tiles in the background. Dad, it's me, Chen. What is it? I'm right in the middle of something here. His tone was dripping with impatience. I could just picture it. Holding the phone in one hand while blindly feeling for his next tile with the other. Something came up on my end. Like what? Out of cash already? Didn't I just send you 800 last week? It's not about money. I paused for a second. Guo Ting got into a car accident. She might lose both of her legs. The line went dead silent for a few seconds. Then, I heard him tell his buddies to hold on a minute. Followed by the sound of footsteps, as the background noise slowly faded away. Is it serious? How did it happen? Are you okay? His voice finally had a hint of concern. I'm fine, I said calmly. I was there too, but far away. That's good. He seemed to breathe a sigh of relief. That Guo Ting kid, she really has terrible luck. Do her parents know? They should have been notified. Alright, make sure you find some time to visit her at the hospital. Buy some fruit or something. After all, you two grew up together. We still have to keep up basic social courtesies. Then, another stretch of silence. Dad, I spoke up. If I became crippled, would you take care of me? The question was so sudden, even I stunned myself for a second. Heavy breathing came from the other end of the line. You kid, what kind of nonsense is that? Everything is fine. Why would you say such unlucky things? I'm just asking. What's there to ask? You're my son. If something really happened to you, of course I'd take care of you. He sounded a bit agitated. But stop thinking about all this nonsense. Just focus on your studies. Getting a good job in the future is better than anything. I chuckled. This answer was exactly the same as in my past life. Back then, I lay in the hospital bed, and my mom took care of me day and night. Growing more haggard by the day. And my dad? He went from visiting the hospital every day at first, to once a week. Then to once a month. And finally, he said, "Son, Dad has to live his life too. Having your mom take care of you is enough. I need to go out and make money." After that, he rarely came. Later, my mom collapsed from exhaustion. He had to take over the burden of caring for me, but in less than 3 months. He just hired a caretaker and sat right back down at the card table. "I know," I said. "Dad, I won't keep you." After hanging up, I sat on a bench by the road for a long time. It wasn't until the sun made my skin burn that I got up and walked toward the school. The afternoon class meeting was in room 302 on the 3rd floor of the teaching building. When I got to the classroom door, it was already packed with people. The counselor hadn't arrived yet. Classmates were gathered in 2s and 3s, chatting. "Did you hear? Guo Ting got into a car crash." "For real? When did that happen?" "Just today at noon, on the road right outside the school gates. So many people saw it." "Is it serious?" "Seems like her leg got broken. She was bleeding so much, it was terrifying." "Oh my god, then doesn't that mean she'll..." The speaker didn't finish the sentence, but everyone understood what they meant. I walked into the classroom, and the buzzing gossip from a second ago. The room suddenly went dead silent. Everyone's eyes were glued to me. I was right there when Guo Ting got into the car accident. Clearly, the news had already spread. "Shu Chen," a girl suddenly yelled my name. I turned my head. It was Su Xiao, Guo Ting's roommate and best friend. Wearing her round glasses, she usually looked so quiet and sweet. But right now, she was glaring daggers at me. Her eyes full of accusations. "I heard you were there when it happened." Her voice wasn't loud, but in that totally silent classroom, it echoed loud and clear. Everyone's ears perked right up. I just nodded, and found an empty seat by the window. "Then why didn't you save her?" Su Xiao's tone was incredibly aggressive. "Didn't you two grow up together?" Guo Ting said so herself. "You were her absolute best friend." The classroom got even quieter. I could feel everyone's stares, piercing into me like needles. I was too far away. "There was no time," I replied calmly. It was the absolute truth. Even if I wanted to save her, I couldn't. At least, from a purely physical standpoint, that was a fact. "No time?" Su Xiao let out a cold laugh. "Then how come I heard Zhang Zicheng had enough time to get out of the way?" "How could you possibly have no time? Don't tell me you did it on purpose." The moment she said that, a collective gasp swept through the room. A few classmates exchanged looks, full of deep, hidden meaning. That's just human nature for you. People don't need any actual proof. Give them a single seed of doubt, and it'll grow into a giant, towering tree in their imaginations. "Su Xiao, what exactly are you trying to say?" I looked up and stared straight into her eyes. She squirmed under my gaze, but stubbornly pushed on. "I'm not trying to say anything. I just think it's weird. Guo Ting was so good to you, and you actually... How do you know she was good to me?" I cut her off. Su Xiao froze. "What all of you saw was only what she wanted you to see." I stood up and marched right up to her. "Su Xiao, you've been rooming with Guo Ting for almost a year now. Do you really know her?" "Of course I do." Her face flushed bright red. Guo Ting was kind, gentle, and totally genuine. That's something everyone here can vouch for. "Oh, really?" I let out a laugh. "Then did she ever tell you that back in our sophomore year of high school, just to steal the #1 spot in our grade, she secretly ripped up all my study guides?" Su Xiao's pupils suddenly shrank. "Did she ever tell you, during the summer break of our senior year? She knew perfectly well I was allergic to alcohol, yet she still spiked my drink with hard liquor at a class party? Did she ever tell you that just last week, she snooped through my diary, and then spread rumors everywhere about the girl I had a crush on?" You could hear a pin drop in that classroom. Everyone was absolutely stunned. "You're lying." Su Xiao's voice started to shake. "Guo Ting would never do something like that. Whether she would or not, you know the truth deep down." I turned around and walked straight back to my seat. I just wanted to say, don't be so quick to judge things you know nothing about. Just as I said that, our counselor pushed the door open and walked in. A middle-aged man in his 40s. His last name is Chen. He wears thick glasses and always looks so dead serious. He had clearly heard about the car crash. He did not look happy. "Is everyone here?" he asked, scanning the room from the podium. The class representative stood up to take attendance. "Except for Guo Ting, who is in the hospital. Everyone else is here." Mr. Chen nodded. He let out a sigh. I am sure you have all heard by now. Guo Ting was in a car crash this afternoon. It is quite serious. The school has already contacted her parents. She is in the emergency room right now. He paused for a moment before continuing. As her classmates, we should show our support and help her. I have discussed this with the class committee, and tomorrow we will organize a few representatives to visit her at the hospital. The class fund will cover the expenses. Is there anyone who wants to volunteer? The classroom fell completely silent. Su Xiao, who was acting all righteous just a minute ago, was now keeping her head down, pretending to flip through her book. Most of the other students also avoided the counselor's gaze. Mr. Chen frowned. No one wants to go? I thought Guo Ting was quite popular among you all. Still, dead silence. Finally, a guy raised his hand. It was Zhang Zicheng. He was sitting in the very back row. He still looked terrifyingly pale, but he had regained his usual composure. Sir, I will go. His voice was flat. You could not hear any emotion in it. The counselor's expression softened a bit. All right, we have Zhang Zicheng. Anyone else? 2 or 3 more hands went up. They were all girls who were on decent terms with Guo Ting. Su Xiao hesitated for a second, then raised her hand too. The counselor nodded. Then it will be just you guys. Tomorrow afternoon at 2 o'clock. Meet up at the school gate. Remember to buy a bouquet of flowers. And get some fruit. You can get the money reimbursed from the class treasurer. He paused and looked right at me. Shu Chen, you and Guo Ting are from the same hometown, and you two grew up together. Are you not going? Suddenly, all eyes in the room were glued to me again. I looked up, meeting the counselor's gaze straight on. Sir, I have a part-time job tomorrow afternoon. I cannot ask for time off. That was the honest truth. In my past life, after I was paralyzed, my family went deep into debt. Just to pay for my medical bills, my mom had to work 3 jobs, and my dad drank himself into a stupor every single day. But in this life, I am never letting that happen again. I need to make money, as much as I possibly can. Our counselor did not seem too happy with my answer, but he did not press the issue. He just nodded. All right, if anyone else wants to go, you can always go on your own time. Now, let us get down to business. He started talking about the final exams and summer internship plans. I pulled out my notebook and pretended to take notes. My mind had already drifted far away. Guo Ting's leg injury was pretty much exactly what the doctor said in my past life. A completely shattered bone, severe nerve damage. Even if she goes through countless surgeries, the best she'll ever do is barely stand. She'll have to rely on crutches to walk, and it's gonna hurt for the rest of her life. She'll never get to wear pretty dresses again, or dance her favorite dances anymore. Her dream of dancing is completely shattered, just like my basketball dream in my previous life. Thinking about this, I didn't feel any kind of thrill, just an indescribable sense of peace. This is only the beginning, Guo Ting. When you pushed me into hell, did you ever think this day would come? After the class meeting ended, I was packing up my stuff to leave. Zhang Zicheng suddenly walked over to me. Shu Chen, can we talk for a second? His voice was kept really low, so only the 2 of us could hear. I looked up, and looked at this face that drove countless girls crazy. He was definitely handsome, a high nose bridge, deep-set eyes, fair skin, and a really clean-cut vibe about him. No wonder Guo Ting was so insanely obsessed with him. Talk about what? About what happened this noon. He pursed his lips. The situation back there, I think you might have misunderstood. Misunderstood? I let out a laugh. Misunderstood what? Misunderstood that you didn't shake off Guo Ting's hand and jump out of the way to save yourself? Misunderstood that you just stood there and watched her get hit by that car? Zhang Zicheng's face immediately changed. That was just a primal instinct. Yeah, instinct. I cut him off. Survival is human instinct. There's nothing to blame you for there. I'm just curious, when Guo Ting wakes up, how exactly are you gonna explain your instinct to her? His lips pressed into a thin line. I'll go to the hospital to see her. I'll take care of her. And I will take responsibility. Take responsibility? I repeated the words, finding it a bit ridiculous. Zhang Zicheng, how exactly do you plan on taking responsibility? Marry her? Take care of her for the rest of her life? He didn't answer. No, you won't. I answered for him. You're just all talk. Give it some time, and once everyone slowly forgets about this whole thing, you'll start distancing yourself from her, little by little. I mean, who wants to be tied down to a cripple, right? When I said this, my voice was incredibly calm, but Zhang Zicheng's face kept getting darker and darker. Shu Chen, you seem to have changed a lot. He stared at me, with a complicated look in his eyes. You never used to be like this. People change. I slung my backpack over my shoulder. Especially after going through certain things. What things? I didn't answer him, and just walked straight past him. When I reached the classroom door, I turned back and gave him one last look. He was still standing there, frowning. Looking like he was trying to figure something out. Zhang Zicheng, I spoke up. Let me give you a piece of advice. He looked up. Stay away from Guo Ting. Why? Because she will latch onto you. Using her injury, using her pitiful act, using the whole, I got hurt for you, excuse. My tone was completely flat. Like I was just talking about the weather. She'll turn into baggage you can never shake off. And she'll drag your whole life off track. If you don't believe me, just wait and see. After I said that, I turned and walked away. My phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. Shu Chen, this is Guo Ting's mother. I heard you were there today too. Could you come by the hospital? There are a few things I want to ask you. I stared at the text, narrowing my eyes. That was fast. Well, whatever I have to face, I might as well face it. I texted back, okay, ma'am, I'm heading over now. The hallway of the city hospital's inpatient ward reeked of disinfectant. I knew that smell way too well. In my past life, I breathed it in across different hospitals for 8 whole years. Guo Ting was in the orthopedics ward, in a private room right at the end of the hall. Her parents clearly pulled some strings. Her dad was a middle manager at a local state-owned company. And her mom was an elementary school teacher. They weren't filthy rich or anything. But in a small town like this, they were definitely well respected. I walked up to the door of her room, and heard them arguing inside. Mom, it was Shu Chen. He just left me there to die. Guo Ting's voice was sharp and shrill, nothing like her usual soft-spoken self. I clearly reached my hand out to him. If he had just pulled me up, I wouldn't be. As she kept talking, her voice broke into sobs. Guo Ting, please calm down. The doctor said you can't get worked up right now. That was her mom's voice. Gentle but exhausted. How am I supposed to calm down? My leg. Guo Ting started crying even harder. The doctor said I might never be able to stand again. Mom, I'm ruined. My whole life is ruined. No, it's not. Mom is going to find the best doctors to treat you. It's no use. I heard everything. A shattered bone, nerve damage. Even if it heals, I'll be on crutches. How am I ever supposed to dance again? How am I supposed to wear dresses? My entire life is destroyed. Then came a loud smash. She must have thrown the water glass from her bedside table onto the floor. I stood by the door, took a deep breath, and knocked. The voices inside stopped instantly. A few seconds later, the door opened. Guo Ting's mom was standing there. She was a woman in her 50s, wearing a tasteful beige suit. Her hair was pinned up perfectly, but right now, her eyes were completely red and swollen. Her makeup was all smeared. She'd obviously just been crying. Oh, Shu Chen, you're here. She forced a strained smile. Come on in. The hospital room was a complete disaster. The floor was covered in shattered glass, and everything on the nightstand had been swept to the ground. Guo Ting lay on the hospital bed, both of her legs wrapped in thick plaster casts. They were hoisted up in the air, and her face was as pale as a sheet of paper. Her eyes were swollen like walnuts, and her hair was scattered messily across the pillow. The moment she saw me walk in, her eyes turned incredibly vicious. What are you doing here? Her voice was completely hoarse. Are you here to laugh at me? Guo Ting, watch your mouth. Her mom scolded her sharply. Then she turned to me. Shu Chen, please don't mind her. She's just going through a lot right now. I get it, I said calmly. Auntie, did you need me for something? Guo Ting's mom motioned for me to sit down. She pulled up a chair for herself and sat right across from me. She rubbed her hands together, looking like she was carefully choosing her words. Shu Chen, I heard that you were there when it happened. Could you please tell me, what exactly happened out there? She stared intently right into my eyes. Guo Ting says Zhang Zicheng shook off her hand first, and then, you didn't save her either. Is that true? I didn't answer right away. I glanced over at Guo Ting, and she was glaring daggers at me. Her eyes were full of warnings and threats. She was terrified that I'd tell the truth. Auntie, I started slowly. It all happened so fast. That car just lost control and rushed at us. The whole thing took maybe a few seconds. So you really didn't save her? Her mom's voice was shaking a bit. I was too far away. There was no time. I just repeated exactly what I had said back in the classroom. By the time I tried to move, Guo Ting had already been hit. You're lying. Guo Ting suddenly started screaming. You absolutely could have saved me. You were right next to me. You just didn't want to. Guo Ting. Her mom turned her head and scolded her. Shu Chen is your childhood friend. You grew up together. How could you say that about him? Friend? Guo Ting let out a bitter sneer. But tears were just pouring down her face. Mom, you have no idea. Shu Chen has always had a crush on me. He was so jealous that I was getting close to Zhang Zicheng, so he deliberately refused to save me. He just wanted to ruin my life. The hospital room went dead silent. Guo Ting's mom looked at me in absolute shock, and then back at her own daughter. She couldn't say a single word. I just laughed. That laugh must have really struck a nerve, because Guo Ting's face turned even uglier. Auntie, I turned back to her mom. My tone was completely calm. Guo Ting is absolutely right. I did have feelings for her in the past. Mrs. Guo's expression grew complicated. But that's all in the past, I continued. Once college started, I moved on. Plus, there's someone else I like now. It's our class president. Her name is Li Jingyan. A lot of people know about it, you can ask around. I wasn't lying. In my past life, I really did have a huge crush on Guo Ting. But that was before the accident. After the crash, all those feelings turned into pure hatred. And in this life, the exact moment I was reborn, every last ounce of attachment I had for her vanished completely. As for Li Jingyan, she's our class president, such a gentle, sweet girl. In my past life, after I got paralyzed, she was the only classmate who still visited me regularly. Even though she eventually drifted away because her family objected, I will always remember the warmth she showed me. So in this lifetime, I decided to get close to her much sooner. Not to use her, but because I truly want to be with her. You're lying. Guo Ting tried to sit up in a panic, but the agonizing pain in her leg made her collapse back down. You're clearly just jealous. You just can't stand seeing me happy. Guo Ting, I said, looking her dead in the eye. If I really liked you, wouldn't I be the first one trying to save you? What good would it do me to stand there and watch the girl I like get hurt? She opened her mouth, completely at a loss for words. Besides, I added, if you're gonna play that game, couldn't I also say that because you like Zhang Zicheng and wanted to show off for him? You went to grab him? But he lost his balance and dragged you down with him? Honestly, the logic was a bit of a stretch. But when people are overwhelmed, they'll latch on to absolutely any excuse they can find. Just as I thought, Guo Ting took the bait. No, Zhang Zicheng shook my hand off first. He's the one who pushed me away. Guo Ting. Mrs. Guo's voice suddenly grew sharp and stern. You can't just make wild accusations like that. I'm not making it up. That's exactly what happened. Guo Ting screamed, bursting into tears. Mom, you have to believe me. Zhang Zicheng did this to me. And Shu Chen too. He just stood there and did nothing. They're both monsters. She sobbed hysterically, crying so hard she could barely catch her breath. Mrs. Guo frantically hit the call button, and a nurse quickly rushed in, giving Guo Ting a sedative shot. It kicked in fast. Guo Ting slowly calmed down and drifted off to sleep. Mrs. Guo rubbed her temples in exhaustion, giving me a bitter smile. I'm so sorry, you had to see all that. It's okay, Mrs. Guo. I can understand how Guo Ting is feeling right now. Shu Chen. She hesitated for a moment. Let me ask you, did Zhang Zicheng really push Guo Ting? I stayed silent for a few seconds. This silence was subtle. I didn't say yes, and I didn't say no either. But in Guo's mother's eyes, that was already a tacit admission. Her face darkened. I see, she said, her voice freezing cold. Thank you for telling me the truth. Auntie, please don't be too upset. The most important thing right now is to heal Guo Ting's legs. I paused. If you need any help, just let me know anytime. Good boy. She patted my shoulder, a glimmer of relief flashing in her eyes. Guo Ting is so blessed to have a friend like you. I sneered inwardly. She said the exact same thing in my past life. Back when I was first paralyzed, every time she came to see me, she would hold my hand and say, Xiao Chen, you got hurt trying to save Guo Ting. Our Guo family will never forget this kindness for the rest of our lives. But what happened after that? Her visits became fewer and fewer. And later, when she heard Guo Ting and Zhang Zicheng were together, she even called my mom and said, the two kids are truly in love. You guys should just stop pestering them. Let bygones be bygones. Easy for her to say. What I lost was my 2 legs. It was my entire life. Auntie, I'll be heading back now. I still have things to do at school. Alright, be careful on your way back. Stepping out of the hospital room, I sat down on a bench in the hallway and let out a long, heavy sigh. This show was just getting started. Guo Ting's accusations, her mother's suspicions, Zhang Zicheng's pathetic excuses. All of this would snowball and get bigger and bigger. And as for me, I just needed to give it a gentle push at the right moment. My phone buzzed. It was a call from Li Jingyan. I answered it. Class rep, what's up? Shu Chen, are you at the hospital? Her voice was so soft, full of genuine concern. Just finished checking on Guo Ting. How is she doing? Not great, she might lose her legs. There were a few seconds of silence on the other end. Shu Chen, are you doing okay? She asked. I heard you were there too. You must have been terrified. My heart felt warm. It was exactly like this in my past life. During my most desperate moments, she was the only one who would ask me. Shu Chen, are you doing okay? I'm totally fine, I said. Just a little tired, then hurry back to school and get some rest. She paused. Oh, by the way, the counselor wants you to go to his office tomorrow afternoon. Seems like he needs you for something. Do you know what it is? No idea, but he looked pretty serious. You'd better prepare yourself. Alright, thanks. I hung up the phone. I leaned back against the chair and closed my eyes. My counselor was looking for me. It was probably about today's car accident. All sorts of rumors must be flying around the school by now. As the counselor, he needed to get the full story. More importantly, Guo Ting's parents might pressure the school. After all, their daughter got hurt right outside the school gates. I needed to think carefully about how to handle this. Just as I was thinking, hurried footsteps echoed from down the hall. I opened my eyes and saw Zhang Zicheng walking my way. He was holding a bouquet of lilies, and his face was still terrifyingly pale. He froze for a second when he saw me, and his pace slowed down. Shu Chen, what are you doing here? Guo Ting's mom wanted to see me. I stood up. You're here to visit her? He nodded, looking a bit uncomfortable. Since I was there when it happened, I figured I should come check on her. Yeah, you definitely should, I said, my tone heavy with meaning. After all, Guo Ting only got hurt because of you. Zhang Zicheng's face grew even paler. What the hell is that supposed to mean? Exactly what it sounds like. I let out a dry laugh. If she hadn't tried to pull you back, and just dodged out of the way instead, maybe she wouldn't have gotten hit. Are you trying to pin the blame on me? His voice trembled with anger. I'm just stating the facts. I shrugged. Besides, Guo Ting thinks so too. His pupils suddenly shrank. What did she say? She said you shook off her hand, and that's why she lost her balance and got hit by the car. I stared dead into his eyes. Zhang Zicheng, how exactly do you plan on explaining that? His lips started to tremble. That was just my natural instinct, telling me that won't do you any good. I cut him off. You need to tell that to Guo Ting. Tell it to her parents, and tell it to the school. The school? He grew visibly nervous. Is the school getting involved in this too? Of course they are, I replied. After all, the accident happened right outside the school gates. The school has a responsibility to investigate it thoroughly. Plus, it seems Guo Ting's dad has some powerful connections. If he decides to press charges. I didn't finish my sentence, but the implication was perfectly clear. Zhang Zicheng's face went from pale to a deathly white. He had probably never imagined that one instinctive dodge could drag him into such a massive mess. Shu Chen. He looked at me, his eyes pleading. You saw what happened back there. I swear I didn't do it on purpose. I know, I replied. That's exactly why I'm waiting for you here. He froze. Let me give you a piece of advice. I lowered my voice. Once you go in, you have got to be completely sincere. Admit that you were just too scared at the time. That you overreacted, but you absolutely did not push Guo Ting away on purpose. Then promise that you will take responsibility, and that you will take care of her. That you will do everything you can to make it up to her. Zhang Zicheng frowned. Isn't this just making me take the fall? Take the fall? I laughed. Zhang Zicheng, do you really think you can just wash your hands of this completely? Guo Ting might never walk again. Her life is ruined. Do you think her parents will just let this go? Will the school just ignore it? Will the public let you off the hook? A whole string of questions left him completely speechless. The only thing you can do right now is to humble yourself and act like a guy who takes responsibility. I continued, that way, at least you can earn some sympathy points. Otherwise, once her parents make a huge scene, your future at this school is completely over. I was telling the truth. In my past life, even though I saved Guo Ting, her parents still sued the school and the driver. But in this life, they have a much more direct target to blame. Zhang Zicheng, knowing her dad's personality, he absolutely will not let him off the hook easily. I get it. Zhang Zicheng took a deep breath. Thank you, Shu Chen. Don't mention it, I said. I just don't want to see things blow out of proportion. It's bad for everyone. He nodded, and walked toward the hospital room with the flowers. He hesitated at the door for a few seconds, before finally pushing the door open and going in. I stood in the hallway, listening to the voices coming from inside. First came her mother's icy greeting, then Zhang Zicheng's stuttering explanation, and finally, Guo Ting's hysterical crying and screaming. Perfect, everything was playing out exactly as I had planned. Zhang Zicheng was backed into a corner. Guo Ting's hatred now had a specific target. Her mother's suspicions were confirmed. And as for me, I was just a bystander who couldn't save her in time. A good friend who tried his absolute best to help. An empathetic insider who knew what happened. I really liked this role I carved out for myself. I turned around and left the hospital. Just as I reached the entrance, my phone rang again. This time, it was my dad calling. Xiao Chen, your Uncle Guo just called me. His voice was dead serious. He asked me a ton of questions about you. He even asked if you and Guo Ting had some kind of falling out. What did you tell him? What else could I say? I just told him that you two grew up together, and that you've always been on good terms. He paused for a moment. But, Xiao Chen, tell your dad the honest truth. About what happened today. Did you really not? No, I cut him off. Dad, I seriously couldn't get to her in time. There was a long silence on the other end of the line. That's a relief, he finally said. You know how your Uncle Guo is. He's incredibly petty, and he holds major grudges. If he gets it into his head that you're the one who hurt Guo Ting, our two families are going to have a hard time getting along from now on, I know. You be careful too. Try to avoid going to the hospital for a while, just to save yourself from any trouble. Okay, I hung up the phone and stood at the hospital entrance, watching the people coming and going. Everyone has their own story, their own unspoken struggles, their own secret schemes. And I am just one of them. But in this life, I will never let anyone scheme against me again. I will never let anyone hurt me again. Everything they owe me, I am going to take it all back, piece by piece. Guo Ting's leg is just the interest. The real revenge is yet to come. I pulled out my phone and sent a text message to Li Jingyan. Class rep, the counselor wants to see me tomorrow. Could you come with me? I'm a little nervous. A few minutes later, she replied. Okay, tomorrow afternoon at 2, I'll be waiting for you outside the counselor's office. I looked at the text, the corners of my mouth curving up slightly. Li Jingyan, I won't let you slip away again in this life. And I will never let you get hurt because of me ever again. I will protect you well, and love you deeply, using these legs that can finally stand again. To walk toward you, to walk toward our future. But before that, I still have a tough battle to fight. A tough battle for my dignity. And I am ready. The next afternoon at 1:50, I arrived outside the counselor's office 10 minutes early. Li Jingyan was already there. Today, she was wearing a light blue dress. Her long hair was tied back in a ponytail, revealing a clean, fresh face and a slender neck. Seeing me, she smiled gently. You're here. You're really on time, class rep, I said. I was just worried you'd be nervous. She smiled warmly, lowering her voice. I asked around. It seems it really is about the car accident yesterday. Guo Ting's parents have been putting pressure on the school, demanding a thorough investigation. Just as I had guessed. Thank you, class representative. I said sincerely. No need to thank me. She waved her hand dismissively. We're classmates. It's only right that we help each other out. Her kindness was exactly the same as always. In my past life, after I was paralyzed, she was the only one who didn't turn away from me. She was the only classmate who often came to keep me company. Even when her family objected later on, she still sneaked out to visit me a few times. It wasn't until her family moved out of town that we finally lost touch. In this life, I won't let those regrets happen again. At 1:58, the office door opened. Counselor Chen poked his head out. Shu Chen is here? Come on in. I walked inside. Li Jingyan followed closely behind. Inside the office, besides Mr. Chen, there was also a man in his 50s, wearing a dark suit. His face was stern. It was Guo Ting's father. Guo Jiangguo. He was sitting on the sofa. His hands were resting on his knees, and his back was perfectly straight. He was putting on major official airs. The moment he saw me walk in, His gaze swept over me like a knife. Mr. Chen, who is this? I asked, feigning confusion. Shu Chen, this is Guo Ting's father. Mr. Guo, Mr. Chen introduced. Mr. Guo wants to understand what happened yesterday, so he asked you here to talk. Hello, Mr. Guo, I greeted him politely. Guo Jiangguo just nodded, without saying a word. His eyes lingered on me for a few seconds before shifting to Mr. Chen. Mr. Chen, I would like to speak with Shu Chen in private. Mr. Chen froze for a second, then looked at me. I nodded. That is totally fine, Mr. Chen. All right then. Mr. Chen stood up. I happen to have a meeting to get to anyway. You two go ahead and talk. Li Jinggan, you should head out too. Li Jinggan shot me a worried look, but I gave her a reassuring glance. After they left, it was just me and Guo Jiangguo in the office. The atmosphere instantly grew heavy. Guo Jiangguo didn't speak. He just stared at me, looking at me like I was a criminal on trial. I stayed quiet too, calmly meeting his gaze. In my past life, I met him many times. At first, he put on this really caring act, holding my hands and saying, Chen, you are the Guo family's savior. I promise I will make sure you are well taken care of. But as time went on, his attitude grew colder and colder. Until the end, when he refused to even see me. Once, when my mom went to him, hoping he could help connect us with a specialist in Beijing, he flat out told her, your family's problems are for you to figure out on your own. I cannot help you. That was the moment I finally understood. That so-called gratitude was completely worthless in the face of reality. Shu Chen, he finally broke the silence. His voice deep and low. About what happened yesterday, I need you to tell me the absolute truth. Mr. Guo, I already told your wife everything yesterday. I want to hear you say it again. His tone leaving zero room for argument. Every single detail. I took a deep breath and started explaining. I described the entire process with calm, objective detachment. I didn't exaggerate a single thing. But the more objective I was, the more real it sounded. When I finished, Guo Jiangguo sat in silence for a long time. He tapped his fingers lightly against his knee, a habit of his whenever he was deep in thought. So, you are admitting that you didn't save Guo Ting. I am admitting that I didn't have time to save her, I corrected him. Mr. Guo, from the moment the car lost control to when it hit her. The whole thing took less than 3 seconds. Even if I had wanted to save her, it was physically impossible. Then why didn't you shout a warning beforehand? He pressed. You were so close to her. You saw she was in danger. Why didn't you yell? Why didn't you pull her back? Because I was scared stiff too, I admitted calmly. When people face sudden danger, their first instinct is to protect themselves. I'm just a normal person. I don't have reflexes that fast. It was an honest answer, and it was human nature. Guo Jiangguo stared at me, trying to figure out if I was lying or not. What about Zhang Zicheng? He changed the subject. Did he really push Guo Ting? I didn't see it, I said carefully. Everything was a total mess at the time. I only saw Guo Ting reaching out to grab him, and then he stepped back. As for whether he pushed her or not, I really couldn't see. It was a very clever answer. I didn't say yes, and I didn't say no. But the phrase, step back, already hinted that Zhang Zicheng was trying to get away. Guo Jiangguo's face darkened even more. Shu Chen, his tone softened just a bit. You and Guo Ting grew up together. I've watched you grow up. Tell me the truth, is there some kind of bad blood between you and Guo Ting? Here it comes. He finally asked the golden question. Why would you ask that, Uncle Guo? I asked back, because Guo Ting said, that you like her, that you're jealous of her and Zhang Zicheng being together, and that you purposely didn't save her. As he said this, his eyes were locked dead onto mine, not missing a single twitch on my face. I didn't answer right away. Instead, I looked down, putting on a hurt expression. Did Guo Ting really say that? She did. So, that's the kind of person she thinks I am. I let out a bitter laugh. Uncle Guo, I'll admit I used to have a crush on Guo Ting. But that was back in high school. I got over it once we started college. Plus, there's someone else I like now. It's our class president, Li Jinggan. A lot of people know about it. You can ask around. This piece of information clearly caught Guo Jiangguo off guard. He froze for a second. Really? You can check for yourself, I said. And besides, if I really liked Guo Ting, wouldn't that make me want to save her even more? What good would it do me to just watch her get hurt? It was the exact same thing I told her mom yesterday. The logic was flawless, bulletproof. Guo Jiangguo fell silent. His fingers started tapping against his knee again. his eyebrows knitted together. I knew exactly what he was thinking. He was weighing his options. On one hand, he had his daughter's accusations. On the other hand, my defense and logic made perfect sense. And more importantly, he now had a much better target to blame, Zhang Zicheng. Compared to a childhood friend who just didn't react in time, the school golden boy who actually pushed his daughter away was a much better punching bag for his anger. Uncle Guo, I spoke up at just the right moment. I know you're really angry right now, and I'm really upset about it too. But I think, the most important thing right now is getting Guo Ting's leg treated. We can take our time looking into everything else. Those words struck a chord with him. His expression finally softened a bit. You're right, he let out a long sigh. Guo Ting's treatment is the top priority right now. If you ever need any help, just say the word, I told him sincerely. I might not have a lot of money, but I can definitely put in the work. I can go to the hospital to take care of her, or run errands for you. I'm willing to do anything. I appreciate the thought, he said, waving his hand. But we don't need anything right now. Just focus on your studies. Don't let your grades slip. Got it. We made small talk for a bit longer. Before Guo Jiangguo stood up. Let's call it a day. He said, if you remember any other details, reach out to me anytime. Will do, Uncle Guo. After walking him out, I stood alone in the office for a long time. Mr. Chen still wasn't back. The room was so quiet I could hear my own heartbeat. I knew I was safe for now. His suspicion of me had faded, and his attention was now on Zhang Zicheng. But this was only the beginning. Knowing Guo Ting, she won't let me off the hook that easily. She'll do whatever it takes to prove I did it on purpose. And before she makes her move, I have to be fully prepared. Stepping out of the office, Li Jinggan was still waiting for me in the hallway. How did it go? She asked with concern. Uncle Guo didn't give you a hard time, did he? It was all right, I replied. He just asked about what happened. Thank goodness. She let out a sigh of relief. I overheard a little bit from out here. Guo Ting's dad sounded so furious. Well, his daughter got seriously hurt. So it's totally understandable. You're taking this surprisingly well. She laughed. But seriously though, Shu Chen, you must have been terrified yesterday, right? I heard the scene was an absolute mess. It was pretty scary, I admitted, but thinking about it now, I'm just incredibly lucky to have walked away safe and sound. Yeah, you really are, she nodded. Suddenly, she remembered something. Oh, right, the freshman talent show is tonight. Are you going? Of course, I'm the class president, so I have to go and keep order. In that case, I'll go too. She paused for a second, then smiled. Sounds good. We walked out of the school building together. Sunlight spilled through the windows into the hallway, leaving a cozy warmth. Shu Chen, she suddenly said, you seem to have changed a lot. Have I? She looked at me earnestly. You used to be so quiet all the time. You used to be so quiet, but now, you seem a lot more mature. People have to grow up sometime. Tell me, is it because of the car crash? You could say that, I nodded. Seeing how fragile life is just makes you realize you have to live it well. Cherish every single day. I really mean it. You only realize how precious life is after facing death. And you only know how rare a true heart is after facing betrayal. You're right, Li Jinggan said softly. We have to live well. We reached the stairwell. She was heading to the library, and I was going back to the dorm. See you tonight, she said. See you. Watching her walk away, a wave of warmth rushed through my heart. In this lifetime, I am definitely going to protect her. At 7 p.m., the freshman talent show was already underway in the school auditorium. The stage lights were flashing, and the music was deafening. I sat in the back row, scanning the crowd for Li Jinggan. She was sitting near the aisle in the front row, looking down at the program. Her side profile looked incredibly soft under the lights. I watched her for a moment, before looking away to check my surroundings. That was when I spotted Zhang Zicheng. He was sitting right in the middle, surrounded by a few guys from his basketball team. He looked a bit distracted, pulling out his phone every now and then to check it. And putting it back. Clearly, going to the hospital earlier today had left him on edge. The performances went on one after another, and the auditorium was buzzing. But my mind wasn't on the stage. I was waiting to see what Guo Ting's next move would be. Knowing her, she wasn't just going to let this slide. She would definitely find a way to retaliate, or at least try to prove her innocence. Sure enough, after the 10th performance ended, the auditorium lights suddenly went black. The giant screen, which had been showing the upcoming acts, suddenly switched to a video. A shaky video recorded on a phone. The footage showed the scene of yesterday's car crash. The camera was pointed at the crosswalk, and you could clearly see 3 people. Guo Ting, Zhang Zicheng. The moment the car rushed toward them, Guo Ting reached out to grab Zhang Zicheng, but he shoved her hand away and backed up. Meanwhile, I just stood there, completely motionless. The video ended right there. The whole thing lasted less than 10 seconds, but it was enough for everyone to see exactly what happened. The auditorium erupted into an uproar. Oh my god, Zhang Zicheng actually pushed Guo Ting away. Why didn't Xu Chen try to help? That is so cold-blooded. Guo Ting is so pitiful. Whispers and gasps echoed all around. Sitting in the back row, I watched it all unfold calmly. Just as I expected, here it comes. This video existed in my past life too. It was filmed by a student who was watching the scene. They posted it online later, and it sparked a massive debate. But in my past life, the star of that video was me, pushing Guo Ting out of the way. Only for her to shove me right back under the wheels. But this time, the plot has changed. The me in the video became nothing but a cold bystander. And Zhang Zicheng became public enemy number 1. On stage, the host scrambled to explain. Sorry about that, just a little technical glitch. We will fix it right away. The lights flipped back on. The show went on, but the vibe was completely ruined. I could feel countless eyes glaring straight at Zhang Zicheng. He kept his head down, his hands clenched tight. His teammates just looked at each other, totally at a loss for words. Right then, my phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. It read, Xu Chen. Did you see that? These are your true colors. I am not going to let you get away with this. There was no name attached. But I knew exactly who it was. Guo Ting. Even lying there in a hospital bed, she still had to stir up drama. I texted back, Guo Ting. Just focus on healing. Give it a rest. I slipped my phone back into my pocket. When I looked up, I caught Li Jinggan looking back at me. There was a really complicated look in her eyes. I just smiled at her. I mouthed, I am fine. She nodded and turned back around. But I knew she had to be burning with questions. That is okay. I will tell her the whole truth, all in good time. Just not right now. Right now, I need to let this little show play out. The video scandal spread like wildfire across the campus. A ton of posts popped up on the school forum. The headlines were more sensational than the last. Campus idol Zhang Zicheng abandons girlfriend in crisis. Where is the humanity? Childhood friend leaves girl to die. Cold-blooded or hidden truth? Shocking car crash video leaked. The chilling truth revealed, and the comments underneath were all over the place. Some people were calling Zhang Zicheng a piece of trash, while others called me a cold-blooded monster. A lot of people felt so sorry for Guo Ting. The public opinion was almost completely one-sided. It makes perfect sense, really. When nobody knows the real story, people naturally side with the underdog. And right now, Guo Ting was the ultimate victim. A beautiful young girl, throwing herself in harm's way to save the boy she loved. Both of her legs crushed, possibly leaving her crippled for life. Only for that very boy to abandon her, and her childhood friend to just stand by and watch her die. What a perfectly tragic story. What a heartbreaking little victim. But I knew it was not going to be that simple. Guo Ting had way more tricks up her sleeve. Sure enough, the very next morning, a brand new post shot to the front page of the forum. The author claimed to be Guo Ting's best friend. They wrote a long, detailed post about Guo Ting and Xu Chen's hidden past. The post claimed that Xu Chen had been secretly in love with Guo Ting for years. But that she only saw him as an older brother, causing his love to turn into twisted hatred. It said he constantly harassed her, and even threatened her life. This car accident was his deliberate revenge. Guo Ting told me so herself. Xu Chen had plenty of time to save her, but he just stood there. He just watched her get hit. He even told Guo Ting, "This is what you get for rejecting me. Guys like him are terrifying. Everyone needs to stay away from him." The post was incredibly dramatic, full of details and highly convincing. The comments section blew up instantly. Oh my god, so that's what happened. That is so creepy. Love turned into hate, huh? Xu Chen seemed like such a nice guy. I can't believe he's such a psycho. I support Guo Ting. Call the cops on him. I calmly finished reading the post. And locked my phone. It was finally happening. Guo Ting had started her counterattack, using the most vicious method possible. Destroying my reputation. If this were my past life, I probably would have panicked and desperately tried to defend myself. But now, I just let out a cold laugh. Guo Ting, you really think this will take me down? You're way too naive. I opened my laptop, logged into the campus forum, and registered a new account. Then, I started typing out a long post. The title read, "Regarding yesterday's accident." Let's be fair. The content was simple, just an objective breakdown of everything I saw, without taking sides and without pointing fingers. Just the cold, hard facts. But at the very end of the post, I added one last paragraph. I don't know Xu Chen, and I don't know Guo Ting. I definitely don't know Zhang Zicheng. I'm just a bystander who happened to witness the whole thing. What I want to say is, in a life or death moment like that, people react on pure instinct, not logic. Zhang Zicheng stepping back was instinct. Xu Chen freezing up was instinct. Guo Ting reaching out to grab someone was also instinct. We shouldn't use the luxury of hindsight to judge their panic in that moment. And we certainly shouldn't go around convicting people before the truth is actually out, wishing the injured a speedy recovery, and hoping the rest of us cherish the present. For this post, I maintained a perfectly neutral tone. Before long, hundreds of comments flooded in. Some agreed, some disagreed, some were skeptical, but at the very least, public opinion wasn't completely one-sided anymore. That was exactly what I wanted. Guo Ting wanted to use the mob to crush me? Fine, I'd just muddy the waters and get everyone arguing. Let everyone throw their opinions into the ring. When there's too much noise, the actual truth gets drowned out. And that was exactly what I needed. With that done, I shut my laptop and got ready for class. When I got downstairs, I saw Zhang Zicheng standing at the dorm entrance. He looked like he hadn't slept all night. He had massive dark circles and a scruffy face. The second he saw me, he rushed right over. "Xu Chen, we need to talk." "Talk about what? The post on the forum? Did you see it?" "I swear I wasn't the one who posted that," he said urgently, even though but I would never stoop that low. "I know." I cut him off. "It was Guo Ting who posted it." He froze. How do you know?" "Because that completely fits her style," I said. "Zhang Zicheng, do you finally get it now? Guo Ting isn't as innocent as you think she is. If she can't have something, she destroys it." His face turned incredibly pale. "That article defending you, did you write it?" he asked. "No," I flatly denied. "But I do think that article made a good point. In a situation like that, a primal instinct shouldn't be overanalyzed." He stared at me for a long time, then suddenly said, "Xu Chen, what kind of person are you, exactly?" "Just a normal guy," I said. "A normal guy who just wants to live a good life." "But you're too calm," he said, abnormally calm. "When something this massive happened, everyone else was panicking. Yet you acted like you had everything under control." I smiled. "That's because I've already died once." After saying that, I ignored his stunned expression and turned away. What does a person who has already died once have left to fear? In this life, I'm going to make something of myself. I'll make everyone who hurt me pay the price, and bring happiness to those who truly love me. I've only just started walking this path, but I'll keep going straight to the very end. Guo Ting's post brewed on the forum for 2 whole days. The public outrage snowballed, growing bigger and bigger. My name practically became synonymous with the term creepy stalker. Wherever I went, I could feel people giving me weird stares and hear their hushed whispers. Li Jinggen's eyes grew more and more worried every time she looked at me, stopping herself from speaking multiple times. Zhang Zicheng, on the other hand, went completely silent. He stopped looking for me, and even started intentionally hiding from everyone. It wasn't until the 3rd day that things took a turn. An anonymous account posted a long article on the forum. The title was simple: "I am an eyewitness to the scene. I need to tell the truth." The article detailed the entire sequence of the car crash that day. The details practically mirrored my own account, but the crucial part was a paragraph the author added at the very end. The reason I'm stepping up to speak out is because I saw something even more sickening. After the crash happened, I originally wanted to run up and help. But then I heard what Guo Ting said to Xu Chen. She said, "Xu Chen, why didn't you save me? Do you really hate me that much?" Then, she turned to Zhang Zicheng and said, "Zicheng, it hurts so much. Is my leg broken?" But when the ambulance arrived, and the paramedics lifted her onto the stretcher, I saw her secretly smiling. Even though it was just for a split second, I am absolutely sure I didn't see it wrong. That smile was definitely not the smile of someone in pain. So I'm thinking, there's a lot more to this than meets the eye. As soon as that post went live, the public opinion flipped overnight. It's actually terrifying when you think about it. Could Guo Ting have done it on purpose? No way. Who on earth would risk their own legs like that? But how do you explain that smile? Maybe she was just trying to play the victim, to force Zhang Zicheng to take responsibility. That is just sick. If that's really what happened, then Guo Ting is incredibly manipulative. The debates online were blowing up. Guo Ting went from being the perfect victim to a scheming, two-faced snake. And as for me and Zhang Zicheng, we went from being the bad guys to the poor souls who fell into her trap. After finishing the thread, I locked my phone. Who was behind that anonymous account? I had a pretty good idea. It had to be one of the students in the crowd that day. Someone who caught Guo Ting smiling. And that smile, I had seen it in my past life, too. Right before they wheeled me into the operating room. She was sobbing in Zhang Zicheng's arms, but when she looked up at me, the corners of her mouth definitely curled up for a split second. Back then, I thought I was just seeing things. But looking back now, that was her true face all along. After my afternoon classes wrapped up, Li Jinggan called out to me. Shu Chen, can we talk for a sec? We walked over to the little garden behind the science building and found a bench to sit on. The sun was starting to set, casting this golden glow all over the grass. It felt really warm. So, that thread on the school forum. Did you see it? She asked. Yeah, I saw it. Is it true, what that anonymous account said? Did Guo Ting actually smile? I went quiet for a few seconds. I don't know, I said. It was pure chaos at the time, I wasn't really paying attention. But if it is true, Li Jinggan bit her lower lip. Then Guo Ting is absolutely terrifying. I didn't say a word. Shu Chen, she turned to look right at me. Her eyes bright and serious. Tell me the absolute truth. What kind of bad blood is there between you and Guo Ting? I looked back at her, suddenly feeling this overwhelming urge to tell her everything. But the words just wouldn't come out. I mean, who would ever believe in something crazy like being reborn? Class representative, I said softly, what if I told you that I once had a really long nightmare? A dream where my absolute best friend betrayed me, and I ended up losing both my legs. I was stuck in a wheelchair for 8 whole years, and in the end, I died completely alone. Would you believe me? She froze for a second, and then let out a laugh. You read way too many web novels. Yeah, I forced a laugh, too. Just a crazy dream, that's all. But the way she was looking at me changed. It became a lot more serious, a lot more gentle. Shu Chen, she said softly, whether that dream of yours was real or not, I just want you to know. You're not alone. What do you mean by that? I mean, she took a deep breath. I believe you. Those 3 words flowed into my heart like a warm current. In my past life, when I was at my most desperate, she said the exact same thing. Shu Chen, I believe you. Shu Chen, you're not alone. Shu Chen, I'll stay right here with you. But in the end, she still left. I won't let that happen again in this lifetime. Class representative, I said, thank you. Just call me Jinggan, she smiled. Always calling me class representative makes us sound like strangers. Alright, Jinggan, we smiled at each other, and the atmosphere suddenly felt a little intimate. Oh, right, she changed the subject. There's a volunteer event next weekend. We're going to the orphanage to play with the kids. Do you want to go? I'll go, I agreed without even thinking. That was quick. I don't have anything going on this weekend anyway. Alright then, I'll sign you up. She pulled out her phone, her fingers typing rapidly on the screen. By the way, Zhang Zicheng is going too. I raised an eyebrow. He's still in the mood for activities? He said he wants to clear his head. Li Jinggan said, I think he's been under a lot of pressure lately. Those comments on the forum are pretty hurtful. He brought it on himself. I said, Shu Chen. She looked at me. You seem to have a real problem with Zhang Zicheng. No, I don't, I denied. I just think he got what he deserved. Why? Because he cares way too much about what other people think, I said. If he could just face his own choices honestly, admit that he was just scared back then. And selfish, he wouldn't be backed into a corner like this. But he insists on playing the victim, so he can't blame people for calling him out. Li Jinggan nodded thoughtfully. You're right, we chatted for a little while longer, only parting ways when it started getting dark. On the way back to the dorm, my phone rang. It was my dad calling. Xiao Chen, your Uncle Guo came over. His voice sounded really exhausted. He saw the posts on the forum and he's furious. He's demanding an explanation. What kind of explanation? He said Guo Ting would never do something like that. It has to be someone spreading rumors. He wants you to step up and clear the air, to say that the anonymous account is making things up. I sneered. What makes him think I'd ever listen to him? Xiao Chen, my dad sighed. I know you've been treated unfairly, but Guo Ting is lying in a hospital bed right now. She might lose her leg. Her dad is just worried sick. Dad, I cut him off. Do you remember when I broke my arm as a kid? The other end of the line went dead silent. Mom wasn't home, so you had to take me to the hospital. We ran into Uncle Guo on the way. He offered us a ride, but you said no, and carried me on your back for 2 kilometers instead. When we got there, the doctor said I needed to be admitted. You didn't have enough cash on you, so you called Uncle Guo to borrow some. He told you money was tight and told you to ask someone else. In the end, it was our neighbor, Auntie Wang, who lent us the money. Dad, is Guo Ting your daughter? Why are you always taking an outsider's side? My dad stayed quiet for a long time. Xiao Chen, he finally spoke, his voice completely hoarse. Dad isn't taking their side. I'm just afraid you'll end up getting hurt. I won't get hurt. I said firmly, I'm all grown up now. I know exactly what to do. After hanging up, my emotions were a complete mess. My dad loves me, I know that for a fact. But he's way too soft, always terrified of making trouble. In my past life, after I was paralyzed, he chose to just run away. I refuse to let history repeat itself this time around. I have to get stronger. Strong enough to protect myself, and protect the people I care about. The weekend volunteer event went ahead as planned. The orphanage was out in the suburbs. We had to take a 1-hour bus ride to get there. The kids were incredibly excited. They swarmed right around us as soon as we showed up. Zhang Zicheng was there too. He was wearing a full tracksuit, but he still looked pretty pale. He forced a smile anyway and played with the kids. Li Jinggan split us all up into different groups. She and I ended up in the same group, in charge of teaching the kids how to draw. Wow, you're really good at this, she said, staring at the cartoon characters I had sketched. Her voice was full of surprise. I learned a bit back in the day. I replied, the truth was, I learned it in my past life. Stuck in a wheelchair with nothing else to do, I had signed up for online drawing classes. 8 solid years of practice gave me a pretty good feel for it. Shu Chen, she said out of nowhere. I think there's just something really unique about you. Unique how? I can't quite put my finger on it. She tilted her head, thinking it over. It just feels like you're way more mature than other people our age. Like you've been through a whole lot. I just smiled and kept quiet. At noon, we all ate lunch in the orphanage cafeteria. Zhang Zicheng walked over with his tray and sat right next to me. Shu Chen, can we talk for a second? About what? About Guo Ting, he whispered, dropping his voice. She called me yesterday. I raised an eyebrow. Saying what? She said, that you were the one behind that anonymous account. That you made the post. I scoffed. Does she have proof? No, Zhang Zicheng shook his head. But she said, you are the only one who would do something like this. And do you believe her? He stayed silent for a long time. I don't know, he said. Shu Chen, I'm just so confused. Guo Ting has changed. She's changed so much I don't even recognize her. She used to be so sweet and kind. Now she's terrifying. People change, I said. Especially after going through a major trauma. But she's changed way too much. Zhang Zicheng smiled bitterly. Yesterday on the phone, she said. If I don't admit that I was the one who pushed her, she'll tell everyone about what we did. What we did before. What did you do? He blushed. We slept together. His voice was as quiet as a mouse. She said if I don't take responsibility, she'll go to the school and accuse me of assaulting her. I froze. I really didn't see this plot twist coming. In my past life, Guo Ting also used dirty tricks to force Zhang Zicheng to be with her, but it was never this extreme. It seems that in this life, because of her leg injury, she's become even more ruthless. So what are you going to do? I asked. I don't know. He grabbed his head, looking completely miserable. I really don't know. I was just acting on impulse back then. I never thought it would turn out like this. Zhang Zicheng. I looked right at him. Do you know what you need to do right now more than anything? What? Admit your mistake. I said. Admit that you were scared. Admit that letting go of her hand was wrong, and admit that you are willing to take responsibility. But only on the condition that she stops using threats to force your hand. But, no buts. I cut him off. If you keep running away, she will only get worse. Eventually, she's going to drag you down into the abyss. And you will never crawl back out. He looked up, his eyes completely bloodshot. Shu Chen, why are you helping me? He asked. We aren't friends. I even stole the girl you liked. I'm not helping you, I said. I'm helping myself. What do you mean? If Guo Ting drags you down, she'll just turn her sights on me next. But if you two can settle this peacefully, I can finally get some peace and quiet. I paused. Besides, I really hate what she's doing right now. Using threats to hold a relationship hostage, it's just so low. Zhang Zicheng stared at me for a long time, and finally, he laughed. It was a bitter smile. Shu Chen, I really underestimated you before, he said. You're much more clear-headed than the rest of us. When you've been through certain things, you just naturally wise up, I replied. The afternoon activities continued, and the kids were having a great time. Their laughter filled the entire courtyard. Li Jingyan was leading the children in games, and the sunlight spilled over her, tracing her in a warm, golden glow. Watching her profile, a wave of warmth swelled up in my chest. I swore to myself that I'd protect this warmth for the rest of my life. After the event wrapped up, we took the bus back to campus. Li Jingyan fell asleep sitting right next to me. Her head rested gently on my shoulder, her breathing soft and steady. I didn't dare to move, just letting her lean on me. The scenery blurred past the window, and the setting sun painted the sky a brilliant tangerine. It was a perfect moment, but I knew this peace wouldn't last much longer. Guo Ting wasn't going to just let this go, and neither was her father. Plus, the public opinion on the school forum could flip on us again at any second. I had to be ready for anything. When the bus finally pulled into our stop, Li Jingyan woke up and realized she'd been sleeping on my shoulder. Her face instantly turned bright red. Oh, I'm so sorry. I totally dozed off. It's all good, I said with a smile. Did you sleep okay? She nodded shyly. Yeah, really peacefully. We shared a quiet smile. After we got off the bus, Zhang Zicheng walked over to me. Shu Chen, I've made up my mind, he said firmly. I'm going to the hospital tomorrow to clear things up with Guo Ting and her parents. What exactly are you going to say? I'll admit my mistakes and take full responsibility. But I refuse to be blackmailed anymore, he said. If she keeps pushing it, I'll just leak all our chat logs to the public. Are you absolutely sure? He took a deep breath. You were right. Running away isn't going to fix a damn thing. Then I wish you the best of luck, I told him. Thanks, man. He turned and walked away, his posture looking a lot stronger and taller than before. Li Jingyan watched him go, and softly murmured, he seems different now. People change, I said simply. What about you? She asked, turning to look at me. Will you change too? I will, I answered earnestly. But some things will never change. Like what? Like the promises I make to the people who matter to me. I looked deep into her eyes. If I care about someone, I'll always be good to them. And if I love someone, I'll love them forever. Her face flushed pink again. But this time, she didn't look away. Shu Chen, who exactly are you talking about? Take a guess. I chuckled softly, brushing off the question. After all, it was still a little too early for some confessions. But I believe time will give us the answers. Back at the dorm, I turned on my laptop and logged into the campus forum. That anonymous account had made a new post. This time, they uploaded an audio clip. It was Guo Ting's voice. She sounded like she was on the phone. Don't worry, Zhang Zicheng isn't getting away. I've got dirt on him. He wouldn't dare back out. I can't touch Shu Chen right now, but I'll figure something out. I didn't break my leg for nothing. Someone has to pay for this. The recording was short, only about 10 seconds long, but it was more than enough to prove that Guo Ting was definitely scheming. The forum exploded again. Oh my god, she's so manipulative. It gives me the creeps just thinking about it. Did she stage the car crash too? No way. Who would risk their own leg like that? But what if she was playing the victim all along? Just to force Zhang Zicheng to take responsibility? That's terrifying. This woman is psycho. The public opinion had completely flipped. Guo Ting went from being the poor victim to a manipulative snake. And I went from the bad guy to the poor, framed innocent. I closed my laptop and walked over to the window. It was late into the night, but the campus was still brightly lit. Guo Ting, is this what you wanted? You totally shot yourself in the foot. But I knew this wasn't the end of it. Knowing Guo Ting, she wasn't going to just give up without a fight. The audio leak dropped like a bomb, sending massive shockwaves through the entire campus. Overnight, Guo Ting's image shifted from a helpless victim to a manipulative pick-me girl. The forums were flooded with insults and mockery. People even dug up her old photos and posts, picking apart every little detail to expose her true colors. Look at this group photo. She totally forced herself into the center and shoved the other girls to the side. And check out this post, another day of having boys obsess over me. The pick-me energy is literally off the charts. I always knew she was fake, acting all innocent. Turns out she's just a toxic hypocrite. The backlash happened so fast it gave you whiplash. Even Zhang Zicheng suddenly became an object of pity. Our poor campus idol, having a psycho like her obsessed with him? Run, Zhang Zicheng, run. Marrying a woman like that would ruin your life. Feeling bad for him for exactly 3 seconds. Reading through these comments, I could only laugh. In my past life, when Zhang Zicheng and Guo Ting were happily living together, these exact same people were calling them the perfect couple. A match made in heaven. But now, the moment things went south, everyone rushed to distance themselves. Ah, human nature. It really can't stand the test of time. But I knew, this wasn't going to end so easily. Sure enough, on the afternoon of the third day, I got a call from Zhang Zicheng. His voice was incredibly raspy. Shu Chen, can you come to the hospital? What's going on? Guo Ting tried to kill herself. My heart instantly sank. When did this happen? Around noon, she waited until the nurses weren't looking, and slit her wrists with a fruit knife. Zhang Zicheng's voice was trembling. They're still trying to save her. Hold on, I'm on my way. I hung up the phone. I rushed to the hospital immediately. The hallway outside the was absolutely packed with people. Guo Jiangguo and his wife were sitting on a bench, both staring at the floor. Their shoulders were shaking. Zhang Zicheng was leaning against the wall. His face was dead pale, and his eyes were completely bloodshot. A few school officials were there too, including Mr. Chen, our counselor. When he saw me, Mr. Chen walked over and lowered his voice. Shu Chen, what are you doing here? Zhang Zicheng asked me to come. I replied, how is she doing? They're still operating. She lost way too much blood. It doesn't look good. Mr. Chen let out a heavy sigh. What an absolute mess. I walked over to Zhang Zicheng and patted him on the shoulder. He looked up at me. With those bloodshot eyes, the doctor said, she might not make it. His voice choked up. If she dies, then I'm a murderer. Don't say that, I told him. It's not your fault. Yes, it is. He shook his head. If I hadn't pushed her away that day, if I hadn't run away from my responsibilities, if I had just gone to see her sooner, she wouldn't have done something so extreme. His guilt was genuine. I could feel it, but what was the point now? The damage was already done. Zhang Zicheng, I looked right at him. Beating yourself up won't help right now. You need to figure out what to do next. What else can I even do? He let out a bitter laugh. If she dies, my life is completely over. She's not going to die, I said. Guo Ting isn't the type to just throw her life away. He froze for a second. What do you mean? I mean, she didn't actually want to die. I lowered my voice. This is just a tactic. A move to back you into a corner and force your hand. Zhang Zicheng's pupils shrank in shock. Are you saying, her slitting her wrists? It sounds terrifying, but the chances of it actually killing her are pretty low. I explained, she's studied basic medicine. She knows exactly how deep to cut to make it look fatal without actually dying. It was the truth. Guo Ting's first choice for college was actually med school. She only ended up at our university because her scores weren't high enough. She definitely knows her way around basic medicine, but the doctor said she lost way too much blood. Zhang Zicheng still couldn't bring himself to believe it. They can just give her a blood transfusion for that. But the public backlash, that's something you won't be able to escape. Right as I said that, the emergency room doors swung open, and the doctor walked out. He pulled off his mask. The patient is out of danger. He said the wound isn't deep. It didn't hit an artery, but she did lose a lot of blood. She just needs plenty of rest. Everyone let out a massive sigh of relief. Guo Jiangguo and his wife rushed forward, grabbing the doctor's hands and thanking him over and over again. Zhang Zicheng slumped back into his chair, burying his face in his hands. I knew exactly what was going through his head. He was relieved, and terrified, relieved that Guo Ting didn't die, and absolutely terrified of the consequences he'd be facing if she actually had. See, I told you so, I said. He looked up, staring at me with a complicated expression. Shu Chen. Who are you, exactly? What do you mean? Why do you seem to know everything? He locked eyes with me. Why can you always see right through everything? I just smiled, brushing the question off. So, what are you going to do now? I don't know. He shook his head. My mind is a complete mess right now. If you trust me, I can give you a piece of advice. What is it? Go see her. Take care of her. Show her that you're genuinely sorry and that you actually care, I said. But when you're talking to her parents, you need to make things crystal clear. Tell them it's not that you don't love her, and it's not that you're trying to dodge responsibility. You absolutely refuse to be threatened or forced into anything. Zhang Zicheng stayed quiet for a long time. Shu Chen, if I tell you that I'm really freaking scared right now, are you gonna laugh at me? No, I said honestly. It's completely normal to be scared. Then, will you help me? I'll tell you what you need to do. But when it comes down to it, the final choice is entirely up to you. He nodded. He stood up and straightened his clothes. I'm going to go see her. Go ahead. He took a couple of steps, then turned back around. Shu Chen, thank you. Don't mention it. Watching his back as he walked into the hospital room, I felt absolutely nothing. Mr. Chen walked over and patted my shoulder. Shu Chen, you should head back too. There's nothing else left to do here. By the time I left the hospital, it was already getting dark outside. I walked over to the bus stop. While I was waiting for the bus, my phone rang. It was Li Jingyan. Shu Chen, where are you? Her voice sounded extremely anxious. I'm at the hospital entrance. What's wrong? Have you checked the school forum yet? Not yet. Why? Someone posted about Guo Ting's suicide attempt on the forum. It's blowing up everywhere, she said, and this time, someone dragged your name into it too. My heart sank. What do you mean? Someone said, they're saying you drove Guo Ting to suicide. Li Jingyan's voice was shaking. They're saying you destroyed her because you couldn't have her. Calling you a psycho stalker. Saying you need to pay for her death. I took a deep breath. It was finally happening. Guo Ting's counterattack was even more vicious than I'd expected. Got it. I'm heading back to campus right now. Don't come back. Li Jingyan pleaded frantically. Everyone at school is talking about you. You're gonna be in huge trouble if you show up. I can't hide from this. If I run, they'll just think I'm guilty. Then please, be careful. I will. I hung up the phone. I opened the school forum. Just as I thought, the glaring red headline at the very top read, Shu Chen drove Guo Ting to suicide. Why is this scum still allowed on campus? The poster claimed to be Guo Ting's best friend. She wrote a detailed essay about how I supposedly harassed and threatened Guo Ting. She claimed my love turned into a twisted obsession. She accused me of leaving her to die, of deliberately spreading rumors to drag Guo Ting's name through the mud, and finally pushing her over the edge until she had no choice but to end her life. The post was a total tearjerker. It even included a few screenshots of our chat logs. Sure, they were glaringly obvious fakes, but they were more than enough to whip the crowd into a frenzy. There were already over 1,000 comments underneath. Oh my god, this is terrifying. Kick Shu Chen out of school. Someone call the cops and lock this creep up. Why hasn't the school expelled him yet? Poor Guo Ting. Imagine being targeted by a monster like that. The tide of public opinion had turned yet again. And this time, I was public enemy number one. I locked my phone and closed my eyes. Guo Ting, you really didn't let me down. That was a ruthless move, but it's not going to be enough. My bus pulled up. I got on and found a seat right by the window. The city night blurred past the glass, neon lights flickering wildly against the dark. I sat there wondering about my past life. If the old me had faced something like this, what would he have done? He probably would have completely lost his mind in a panic. He would have begged and pleaded his innocence, crying to the teachers and the dean. He would have repeated over and over that he didn't do it. But in the end, it would have only made things worse. Because people only believe what they want to believe. They just needed someone to take the brunt of their rage. A convenient target to vent all their frustration on. And I was exactly that target. But not this time, not in this life. I know exactly how to play this little game. By the time I made it back to campus, it was pitch black outside. A massive crowd had gathered at the main gate, waving banners and protest signs. Severely punish the scum Shu Chen. Justice for Guo Ting. Inaction from the school means danger for the students. The guy leading the mob was some student I didn't even recognize. But he was screaming the loudest. As soon as he spotted me, the crowd instantly swarmed me. Shu Chen, you actually have the guts to show your face? You piece of trash, get the hell out of our school. You drove Guo Ting to her death. Are you even human? They shoved their phones right into my face, recording every second. The camera flashes blinded my eyes, but I stood my ground. I didn't even flinch. I didn't run. I just looked at them, completely calm. You guys are saying I drove Guo Ting to suicide. Do you have proof? I asked. It's all over the school forum. Chat logs, voice recordings, we have everything, the lead guy shouted. Chat logs can be faked. Audio can be edited. I said, did any of you actually see me push her with your own eyes? Did anyone hear me threaten her with your own ears? The crowd went dead silent for a second. Guo Ting is lying in a hospital bed right now. That's the best proof. Another girl yelled. She tried to kill herself because she messed up, got exposed, and couldn't handle the shame. I said, what does that have to do with me? You're lying. You pushed her to do it. Then call the cops, I said. Let the police investigate. If I actually committed a crime, I'll accept the legal consequences. They were stunned by how calm I was. Usually, someone being ganged up on would either furiously fight back or run away in a panic. Someone as calm as me is pretty rare. Move, I said. The crowd subconsciously parted to make a path. I walked right through them into the campus. Whispers drifted from behind me. He doesn't look scared at all. Is there more to the story? Did we actually accuse the wrong guy? I smiled. That's human nature. The more you panic, the more they think you're guilty. The calmer you are, the more they start to doubt their own judgment. When I got back to the dorm, my roommates were all there. They looked at me with complicated expressions. Shu Chen, are you alright? The one speaking was Zhang Hao, the guy the first was closest to in the dorm. I'm fine, I said. About that stuff on the forum. He hesitated. Is it true? What do you think? I asked back. I don't think you're that kind of guy. He said, but the public opinion is really bad right now. The school will probably call you in for a talk. I know. Right as we were talking, there was a knock on the door. It was our counselor, Mr. Chen, along with 2 people from student affairs. Shu Chen, please come with us. Mr. Chen looked dead serious. Sure, I left with them. On the way, Mr. Chen lowered his voice and said to me, Shu Chen, this whole thing has blown up. The school leaders are taking it very seriously. Just cooperate with the investigation. Tell them exactly what you know. Don't hide anything. I know. Thanks, Mr. Chen. Inside the student affairs office, 3 school leaders were sitting there. One was Director Wang of Student Affairs, a bald man in his 50s, wearing gold-rimmed glasses. Another was Vice Principal Li, who looked friendly, but had a sharp gaze. And the last one was Director Zhao of Campus Security, a burly man with a serious face. Please take a seat, Shu Chen. Vice Principal Li pointed to the chair across from them. I sat down, keeping my back completely straight. Shu Chen, do you have anything to say about what happened with Guo Ting? Director Wang started, his tone very official. Feel free to ask whatever you need to, sirs. I will answer truthfully. Alright, Director Wang opened a folder. First, regarding the day of the car accident. Please describe it again in detail. I repeated the same words I had said countless times, objectively and calmly, without exaggerating a single thing. So, you admit that you didn't save Guo Ting at the time? Vice Principal Li asked. I admit I didn't have time to save her. I said, but it wasn't on purpose. Then what's the deal with the audio recording on the forum? Director Zhao interrupted. That anonymous account said they heard Guo Ting laughing. Is that true? I don't know, I said. It was chaotic at the time. I wasn't paying attention. Then is that anonymous account yours? Director Wang stared at me. Or did you tell someone else to post it? No, I said frankly. I have no reason to do that. But Guo Ting accuses you. She says you hired that account, that you made the post, and your goal was to ruin her reputation. Does she have proof? I asked. Director Wang froze for a second. If there is no proof, then it's slander, I said. Sirs, we live in a society ruled by law now. Claims need evidence. The 3 leaders exchanged a look. Shu Chen, we understand how you feel. Vice Principal Li spoke up, his tone softening a bit. But public opinion is really against you right now, and the school is under a lot of pressure. We hope you can cooperate with the investigation and clear things up as soon as possible. I am willing to cooperate, I said. But I have one condition. What condition? I want the school to make the investigation public, and bring in the media and the police. Get to the very bottom of this. I looked right at them. If I really committed a crime, I will accept the legal punishment. But if I didn't, I want the school to clear my name. This request obviously caught them off guard. Usually, when students face this kind of thing, they want to keep it low-key and settle it privately. It's rare for someone like me to actively demand a public investigation. Are you sure? Director Wang frowned. What a public investigation means. Do you even know? I know, I said. It means this whole thing will be dragged out into the daylight. Everyone will be able to see the truth, but public opinion is already entirely against you. A public investigation might put you under even more pressure. I am not afraid of pressure. I said, what I am afraid of is being unjustly framed. Vice Principal Lee stared at me for a long time, and finally nodded. All right, we agree to your terms. The school will set up an investigation team, inviting the police and media to supervise. We will investigate this matter thoroughly. Thank you, professors. By the time I walked out of the office, it was already dark. Mr. Chen followed behind me and sighed. Shu Chen, why push it this far? A public investigation does you no good. Mr. Chen, do you honestly think keeping it quiet does me any good? I asked. He froze for a second. Right now, the public has already branded me as scum. If the school handles this privately, no matter the result, people will just say the school is covering for me. I said, only a public investigation, where everyone sees the process, can actually clear my name. But what if? There is no what if. I cut him off. The truth is the truth. It won't change just because of how it is investigated. Mr. Chen looked at me, his eyes full of mixed emotions. Shu Chen, you really are different, am I? Way too mature for your age, he said. Sometimes I feel like you are not a 19-year-old student at all. I just smiled, not giving him an answer. Because I really wasn't. I was someone who crawled my way back from hell. Having survived the deepest darkness, I wasn't afraid of any storm. When I got back to the dorms, Li Jinggan was waiting for me downstairs. Shu Chen, she ran over, her face full of worry. They didn't give you a hard time, did they? No, I said. The school agreed to a public investigation. A public investigation? Her eyes went wide. You asked for that? Why? That is going to put so much more pressure on you. But it will also clear my name much faster, I said. Jinggan, trust me, I know exactly what I am doing. She looked at me, tears shimmering in her eyes. Shu Chen, I am scared. Scared of what? Scared you will get hurt. Scared you will be framed. Scared that you. Her voice broke off. I reached out and gently wiped the tears from the corner of her eyes. Don't be scared, I said. I am not going to lose. How are you so sure? Because I've got nothing left to lose. I smiled. When you're not even afraid of dying, what else is there to be afraid of? She just froze. Then, she pulled me into a tight hug. Shu Chen, no matter what happens, I'm staying right here with you. I hugged her back, feeling the warmth of her body. In this life, I will never let anyone hurt her again. The decision for a public investigation was announced quickly. The school posted an official notice on their website, and pinned a bulletin on the student forum. The internet exploded all over again. The school is actually serious. A public investigation? This is getting interesting. I'll just sit back and wait for the truth. Shu Chen's got some serious guts, demanding a public hearing like that. Looks like he really has nothing to hide. Well, you never know. He might just be bluffing. There were all kinds of rumors flying around. But I didn't care, because I knew the truth would come out very soon. Guo Ting, your little show is finally over. The very next day, the investigation committee was officially formed. It included school officials, police representatives, reporters from the media, and student representatives. As the class president, Li Jinggan was chosen to be one of the student reps. The first hearing took place in the school's conference room, and I was called in to give my statement about what happened that day. The room was absolutely packed. Cameras were shoved right in my face, and the camera flashes were blinding. I just sat there in my chair, staring back at the sea of judging eyes. Guo Ting didn't show up. She was still in the hospital, but she sent her lawyer instead, a middle-aged guy in his 40s, wearing a sharp suit and looking strictly professional. Mr. Shu Chen, the lawyer began, his tone aggressive and pressing. My client, Guo Ting, accuses you of taking revenge after being rejected. She claims you intentionally refused to help her, and then spread rumors to destroy her reputation. What do you have to say for yourself? I didn't do any of that, I replied calmly. Then how do you explain the audio recording leaked on the forum? Did you tell that anonymous user to post it? No. Do you have any proof? Do you have a single shred of evidence showing that I was behind it? I fired back. The lawyer was clearly taken aback for a second. If you don't have proof, then this is nothing but a false accusation. I stated flatly, the law clearly says the burden of proof is on the accuser. So, if Guo Ting wants to point fingers at me, tell her to bring the evidence. A dead silence fell over the conference room. Nobody had expected this. Nobody expected a 19-year-old kid to just sit there and calmly dismantle a professional lawyer. Guo Ting's suicide attempt happened right after you spread those vicious rumors. The lawyer raised his voice. That right there is the evidence. First of all, I never spread any rumors. I fired right back. And second, Guo Ting's so-called suicide was entirely her own choice. There's no causal link to me. If saying a few words makes you responsible for someone's suicide, then every writer, journalist, and commentator in the world would have to take the blame for every suicide. You're just twisting the facts. I'm just being logical, I replied. I mean, Mr. Lawyer, you're a professional. You should know better than anyone what it takes to legally prove a causal link. Tell me, did my actions directly cause Guo Ting's suicide? Did I encourage, force, or manipulate her into it? If not, then her suicide has absolutely nothing to do with me. The lawyer's face flushed red. He clearly didn't expect me to be such a tough nut to crack. Shu Chen, Vice Principal Li chimed in. We aren't in a courtroom right now. We're just trying to get to the bottom of this. Please calm down. I am perfectly calm. In fact, it's my calmness that lets me see the truth. And what exactly do you think the truth is? The truth is, Guo Ting staged this whole sob story to force Zhang Zicheng to take responsibility. I dropped the bombshell. The car crash was a genuine accident. But everything that happened after it was completely orchestrated by her. From the posts on the school forum, all the way to her so-called suicide attempt. It was all designed to build public pressure and back Zhang Zicheng into a corner. An uproar erupted in the meeting room. What proof do you have? The lawyer demanded harshly. I don't have any, I replied without missing a beat. But the truth doesn't need physical proof. It only needs simple logic. Just think about it for a second. If I was really acting out of unrequited love and revenge, like Guo Ting claims, then why on earth did I save her? Wouldn't letting her get run over be a much sweeter revenge? Nobody said a word. If I truly wanted to ruin her reputation, why would I use an anonymous account? I could have just posted it under my real name. Wouldn't that be way more convincing? And if I actually drove her to suicide, why was I the first person to demand a public investigation? Why would I willingly walk right into a trap? Those three questions left the entire room in stunned silence. I rest my case, I said. If any of the teachers or reporters here still have questions, feel free to ask me. But before you do, I want you to ask yourselves one thing. Do you really know who Guo Ting is? With that, I stood up and walked out of the meeting room, leaving a dead silence in my wake. I knew my words had hit their mark. Once people actually start thinking, once they start doubting, the truth is never far behind. The day after the investigation meeting, a mysterious post popped up on the school forum. The title was blunt. A few burning questions about the Guo Ting incident. The author claimed to be an insider but kept their identity hidden. Even so, the post was incredibly well structured and the logic was airtight. It raised several key questions. On the day of the car crash, why exactly did Guo Ting grab onto Zhang Zicheng? Under normal circumstances, a person's first instinct should be to get out of the way, not to grab onto someone else. Second, is Guo Ting's injury really severe enough to require an amputation? Netizens with medical backgrounds have pointed out that, based on the photos from the scene, the tire rolled right over her lower leg. While this kind of injury is severe, there is a very high chance her leg could be saved with surgery. Third, why did Guo Ting have suicidal thoughts so quickly after the crash? Normally, when people go through major trauma, there is a mental process of coming to terms with it, rather than immediately jumping to extremes. Fourth, the posts attacking Shu Chen on the forums were all published around the exact same time. And their writing styles are suspiciously similar. It really looks like someone orchestrated the whole thing. And the most important point of all, if Guo Ting is truly innocent, why is she too scared to face a public investigation? Why send a lawyer instead of showing up herself? This post was like a stone tossed into a quiet lake, sending ripples everywhere. The completely one-sided public opinion began to split. Thinking about it gives me the creeps. Now that you mention it, something is definitely off. Guo Ting has been hiding in the hospital this whole time, saying everything through her lawyer. It really is suspicious. Did we actually wrongfully accuse Shu Chen? But some people still stuck to their original views. Here comes the victim blaming again. Guo Ting is already in that horrible state, and people are still doubting her? These must be Shu Chen's paid trolls. Both sides were tearing each other apart on the forums. And all of this was exactly what I had expected. I knew who that insider was. It was Zhang Zicheng. He came to find me after the investigation meeting ended. Shu Chen, "I've figured it out," he said. "Guo Ting has been using me this whole time, playing on my guilt." "And so?" I asked. "So, I am going to step up." His eyes were completely determined. "I'm going to tell them everything I know." "Are you sure about this? This will completely destroy your relationship with Guo Ting. Whatever we had is already dead." He gave a bitter smile. "It ended the exact moment she threatened me." And so, that post was born. Zhang Zicheng didn't show his face directly. He posted it anonymously, but the details he provided were enough to make everyone rethink the whole incident. The shift in public opinion meant Guo Ting could no longer just sit back. On the third day, her lawyer held a small press conference. At a hotel near the hospital, over a dozen media outlets showed up. Guo Ting appeared in a wheelchair, with a cast still on her leg. Her face was pale, her eyes red and swollen. She looked so incredibly pitiful. She started by bowing to the cameras, her voice choking with sobs. "First of all, I want to thank everyone who has checked on me. These past few days have been the absolute darkest moments of my entire life." She started to cry. She cried so heartbreakingly. The cameras zoomed in on her, flashes firing off non-stop. As for the crash, I really don't want to say much more about it. I just want to say that I was so terrified back then. I just instinctively grabbed onto the person next to me. That was just my natural human instinct. She paused, wiping away her tears. As for my classmate, Xu Chen, I don't want to blame him, either. Maybe he was just really terrified at the time. He didn't have time to react. I choose to believe he didn't do it on purpose. That sounded so forgiving, such perfect victim behavior. But then, she shifted her tone. "But there are some things I just have to make clear. Those posts on the forum claiming I planned everything, saying I played the victim just to pressure Zhang Zicheng. They are absolute slander." Her voice suddenly turned firm. "I have never threatened anyone, and I have never plotted anything. My pain is real, and my despair is real, too." She started crying again. "When I was lying in that hospital bed, looking at my legs, knowing I might never walk again, I really just wanted to end it all. But my parents, my friends, they were the ones who gave me the courage to keep living." She looked up, staring right into the camera. "So I am begging everyone, please, stop spreading these vicious rumors. I have already lost my legs. I do not want to lose my dignity, too." The press conference was streaming live. Guo Ting's performance was absolutely flawless. Fragile, yet strong. Pitiful, yet so forgiving. Public opinion flipped in an instant. Guo Ting is just so pitiful. Are the people who doubted her even human? Xu Chen, get out here and apologize. Zhang Zicheng, step up and take responsibility. Watching the stream, I just laughed. Guo Ting sure did not disappoint me. She played the sobbing victim so well. But, she also made a mistake. A fatal mistake. After the press conference wrapped up, I got a call from Li Jingyan. "Xu Chen, did you watch the stream?" Her voice was filled with worry. "I saw it. The public is turning against you again. What do we do now?" "Don't worry about it," I told her, "the best part is yet to come." "What do you mean?" "You will find out tomorrow." I hung up the phone and opened my laptop. I started drafting an email. The recipients were every single member of the investigation committee, including the school board, the police representatives, and the media reporters. The email was simple: respected teachers and members of the press. This is Xu Chen. Regarding some of the claims Guo Ting made during her press conference, I have a few questions I would like to raise. First, Guo Ting stated that she has never threatened anyone. If so, how do we explain the chat logs on Zhang Zicheng's phone? Second, Guo Ting claimed that she has never plotted anything. Then who exactly posted all those attacks against me on the school forum? Third, and this is the most crucial point, Guo Ting's injuries, are they truly as severe as she claims? I am officially requesting the investigation committee to conduct a completely new medical evaluation of Guo Ting's injuries. If she is truly injured badly enough to face amputation, I will accept all the consequences. But if her injuries are not that serious, then how exactly does she explain all of this? I will be waiting for the truth. After hitting send, I shut down my laptop and lay back on my bed. I knew this email was going to cause a massive uproar, but I did not care, because I knew the truth was out there. Early the next morning, my inbox just blew up. Dozens of emails came flooding in. There were interview requests from the media, official notices from the school. There was also support and hate from strangers. But the one I cared about most was from the investigation team. Xu Chen, your request has been received. After careful review, it has been decided that the investigation team will invite a third-party medical clinic to completely re-evaluate Guo Ting's injuries. The evaluation process will be fully transparent, and we welcome media supervision. This email was sent personally by Vice Principal Lee. It seemed the school had finally realized how serious this was. I replied, "Thank you, professors. I'm ready to cooperate with the investigation at any time." Putting my phone down, I let out a long, heavy sigh. The moment for the truth to come to light was finally here. Guo Ting, are you ready to face your karma? News of the medical re-evaluation spread fast. The school forum exploded again. A re-evaluation? What does that mean? Are Guo Ting's injuries fake? No way, right? It was such a massive car crash. Just sitting here waiting for the truth. This time, the public was way more cautious. After going through so many plot twists, people finally learned not to pick a side so easily. This was a good thing. The injury evaluation was scheduled for 1 week later. And during that week, a lot of crazy things happened. First off, Zhang Zicheng publicly released his chat history with Guo Ting. The chat logs showed that Guo Ting really did threaten him by saying she'd expose their relationship and accuse him of assault. The internet was in an absolute uproar. Guo Ting's image as the flawless victim started to crumble. Secondly, all those forum posts attacking me were proven to be sent from the exact same IP address. While it couldn't directly prove that Guo Ting was the one posting them, it was more than enough to show that these attacks were highly organized and completely planned out. Guo Ting's lawyer scrambled to hold an emergency press conference, denying all the allegations, but absolutely nobody believed him anymore. Finally, and most importantly, a massive rumor leaked out from the hospital. Guo Ting's attending doctor supposedly said in private that her injuries actually weren't that severe. While she definitely needed multiple surgeries, the chances of saving her leg were actually very high. She absolutely did not need an amputation. This news spread like wildfire. If this was really true, then every single thing Guo Ting had been doing was just an act, and the entire purpose behind her little performance was just to force Zhang Zicheng to take responsibility for her. This realization sent chills down everyone's spine. That is horrifying. This woman is completely terrifying. It's chilling when you really think about it. She was scheming from the very start. Zhang Zicheng is the real victim here, getting targeted by a woman like her. Honestly, Xu Chen had it way worse. He was almost framed as a total scumbag. The public narrative completely flipped. Guo Ting went from being the tragic victim to a deeply manipulative, ruthless, and wicked woman, while I went from the abuser to the poor guy who got totally framed. On the day of the medical evaluation, the hospital was absolutely packed with people. Media reporters, school administrators, police representatives, and students just there for the drama. Guo Ting was pushed out in a wheelchair. Her face was as pale as a ghost. She just stared at the massive crowd surrounding her. Her eyes were filled with absolute terror. I knew exactly what she was so afraid of. She was terrified of the truth. Terrified of having her mask ripped right off. Terrified that everything she had schemed so hard for would just vanish into thin air. The medical evaluation was simple. 3 orthopedic specialists from different hospitals gave Guo Ting a thorough examination. X-rays, CT scans, MRIs. They did every single test possible. The whole process took 3 hours. 3 hours later, the panel of experts delivered their verdict. The verdict was simple and absolutely brutal. Student Guo Ting suffered a shattered right lower leg, specifically a severe comminuted fracture of the tibia and fibula. Along with soft tissue damage, the injury is indeed severe, but with surgical treatment, there is an 80% chance of saving the leg and fully restoring her ability to walk. There is absolutely zero need for an amputation. The moment those words dropped, the entire room fell dead silent. Then came the frantic flashing of cameras. The reporters swarmed Guo Ting, shoving their cameras and microphones right in her face. Guo Ting, do you have anything to say for yourself? Why did you fake the severity of your injuries? Were you really just playing the victim to force Zhang Zicheng to take responsibility? Guo Ting covered her face, screaming, "Get away, all of you, get away from me. Stop filming me." Her parents desperately shielded her, trying to shove the reporters back. The whole scene was absolute chaos. I stood outside the mob, quietly watching it all unfold. Watching Guo Ting completely break down. Watching her parents in absolute disarray. Watching the reporters go into a frenzy. Every bit of this went exactly as I planned. But I didn't feel any joy. Just a chilling, dead calm. Well, Guo Ting, is this the ending you wanted? Your reputation entirely ruined, and completely abandoned by everyone. But it's not enough. It is nowhere near enough. Right after the experts announced their findings, the school quickly handed down its disciplinary decision. For spreading malicious rumors, framing a fellow classmate, and severely disrupting campus order, Guo Ting was placed on strict academic probation. As for Zhang Zicheng, for his extreme immaturity in handling personal relationships that caused such a toxic impact, he was issued a formal public warning. And me? I was cleared of all blame. Absolutely no fault. The very day that official notice was posted, I got a phone call from my dad. Xiao Chen, your uncle Guo is here at the house. His voice sounded incredibly exhausted. He wants to see you. See me for what? He says he wants to apologize to you in person. I don't need it, I told him flat out. Tell him to go home. Xiao Chen, you need to learn to show a little mercy when you can. Dad, I cut him off. If I was the one lying in that hospital bed today, do you really think he'd show me any mercy? My father fell completely silent. No, he wouldn't. I answered it for him. So, I won't either. On the day Guo Ting's academic probation notice was officially pinned up, the campus was unusually quiet. No one talked about the car crash anymore. No one argued about who was right or wrong. It was like it never happened. Like we all just moved on. But I knew we didn't. Some things, once they happen, they never really go away. Just like the scar on my leg, even after it heals, the mark stays. Just like the bitter hatred burning inside Guo Ting. You can push it down all you want, but one day, it will explode. She stayed in the hospital for a month, went through 2 surgeries, and then got discharged. She didn't come back to school. She went straight home. I heard her parents pulled her out of school. They were taking her to Beijing for treatment. Before she left, she sent me a text. Shu Chen, you won this round, but this is far from over. Just you wait. I didn't reply. I deleted the message, and blocked her number. Some wars don't need words. They just need patience. Waiting for the enemy to slip up. Waiting for the perfect moment. Waiting for the chance to strike a fatal blow. Summer break came around quickly. I found a part-time gig, working at a coffee shop. The boss was a woman in her 30s, named Su Yao. She had short hair, and gave off a really sharp, no-nonsense vibe. College student? She glanced over my resume. She raised an eyebrow. Freshman, why do you want to work here? Just to make some extra cash. And gain some experience. She stared at me for a long moment. Then smiled. Alright, come in tomorrow. The cafe work wasn't exhausting. But it was tedious. Taking orders.